We begin with breaking news coming in. Same-sex marriage hearing in top court. Of course, we have more details on this with CJI's oral remarks on the issue. The Supreme Court says government has a role where court will not intervene. It also says do something about LGBTQ communities' social needs, further adding that the centre must look into the social benefits for the LGBTQ couples. Harish joining us live. Yes, Harish, over to you. We've heard some interesting arguments from both sides actually, but now the top court has made certain important observations in this regard. Over to you to take us through the major points.
Yes, that's right, Afrida. Very significant developments coming in on day 6 of this hearing. In fact, there is an impression that this very hard-hitting, arguments by the Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, vehemently opposing any move by the Supreme Court to adjudicate on the same-sex marriage may have had some impact, some impression on the bench. Today, Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, just before rising for the day, said that the centre had in fact made very powerful argument questioning the Supreme Court's jurisdiction to adjudicate and legislate on this issue, and has said that very powerful arguments were made. Maybe the centre has a point that this is the domain of the legislature, but reminded the solicitor that time and law has evolved and society has evolved. So therefore, we might examine how to legalize, what measures to be taken to legalize the same-sex marriage. At the same time, the government has a role to examine as to what social security benefit measures and legal rights can be given to the same-sex couples. And the Supreme Court has very importantly directed the Solicitor General Tushar Mehta to come back to the court on next date of hearing with a clear answer as to what legal rights, social security benefits can be given to the same-sex couples, and the Solicitor General has to reply on next date of hearing, that is Wednesday. Earlier, the Supreme Court, in fact, the Solicitor General for the centre vehemently argued that Supreme Court should keep away from the adjudication, saying that it's purely a domain of the Parliament, and the legalization of the same-sex marriage will have very serious impact. Very soon, people will file petitions in the court saying that questioning the definition of prohibited relations, that is saying that even incest should be legalized. But the Chief Justice said that the incest and prohibited relations are a reasonable restriction. No court will validate incest because it is a prohibited relation. Then the Solicitor General said that some time back, even the Indian society considered same-sex marriage also as a prohibited relation, but now the Supreme Court is actively examining whether to give sanctity, legal sanctity to the same-sex marriages. Remember, the Solicitor General also said that if the same-sex marriage is legalized, it will have an impact on around 160 other very important statutes like pertaining to maintenance, divorce, alimony, and even rape laws, and therefore this should be avoided. The Solicitor General said that even either the entire statute, that is say Special Marriage Act, should be amended to bring it in conformity with the other 160 laws, and piecemeal interpretation like changing the word like male and female to persons, husband and wife to spouses will not suffice, because it will have an overlapping effect and have impact on the making other laws, operation of other laws like regarding marriage, divorce, maintenance, inheritance, etc., and succession, etc. So after hearing all these arguments, Chief Justice of the view that definitely this may be a domain of the Parliament, but there is no harm in the Supreme Court interpreting Section 4 of the Special Marriage Act to weave in, to assimilate a concept which had subsequently developed. No law is, the Supreme Court said that, in fact, the Supreme Court has the power to interpret laws, and therefore it is examining whether to give legal sanctity to the same-sex marriage, but at the same time said that government had a duty to ensure that these LGBTQ couples, same-sex couples are given legal rights, and asked the Solicitor General to examine what kind of social benefits measures and legal rights these couples can enjoy. And on May 3rd, that is next date of hearing, the Solicitor General has to come back to court and give an explanation in this regard. Back to you.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Harish, for giving us all the detailed explanation and perspective on the important highlights from the court's observation today. Arguments presented by the centre on why same-sex marriage cannot be legalized. The issue of incest came up prominently in court, as Harish was explaining. We'll leave it at that for now.